Morning. Just want to talk today, as a community, we have so many of our partners out here today to talk about an issue that, has really impacted us in the past couple of weeks more than it has for the rest of the year. We're talking about, children dying unexpectedly in a crib. The other thing too is, we had two possible drownings that happened in the past couple of weeks. So we want to talk about, child safety as we go into the holiday season. And I can tell you it's impacted us because in this past Thanksgiving, when families are out there enjoying, time together, we got a call that an infant died in the crib. And we're not here to, blame the families because we know that, nobody wishes this upon any family member, nobody wishes this upon any small infant, but at the same time, if we can prevent this from happening again. So that's why we're out here today, is to talk about prevention, talk about those things that you can do, that if traditionally, you would think, sleeping with your baby in your bed is something that, shows love and affection, but at the same time, it can be extremely dangerous. And unfortunately, this past year and over several years, we've seen deaths where, people thought they were doing the right thing by sleeping with their baby, but unfortunately, the baby has died. So with us today is Ken Killian. He's in charge of our Child Protective Investigation Unit. He can talk further about this, but we wanted to bring this issue forward because, as we're going into Christmas, we want it to be a joyous time where people are enjoying, spending time with family. We don't want another tragedy, which unfortunately we've seen too many of in the past couple of weeks.
Well, good morning. As the sheriff mentioned, since Thanksgiving, we've seen at least two children tragically lose their life because of something that's preventable. We're here to discuss strategies that parents and caregivers can do to have their children safe. The American Pediatric Association says that sleeping with your infants is unsafe. We're here to talk about strategies that parents can do and caregivers to ensure their infants are safe. One, always put your child in a crib. Never co-sleep with your infant. Our message is rather simple. If you are sleeping with your infant, or if you allow your infant to sleep in a bed or a couch or sleep with a sibling, stop today, because we don't want to be at your house suffering the tragic loss of your child tomorrow.
Good morning, Mike Napier, Florida Department of Health, Pasco County. Adult beds are dangerous for children. Our message is that maybe generationally with our grandparents or parents who have maybe put soft pillows in the bed in the cribs with our parents, with the children. We also explain to people that the babies need to sleep on their backs. These are messages that maybe we have not had in the past that we want to generationally change so that parents and grandparents know how best to take care of their children. Prevention is the best answer. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Rick Hess with Pasco Kids First. We run the Child Protection Team program here. So we come in contact with many of these situations that are tragic for all of us. But what we know, what we've found out over the years, is that many of these situations can be prevented through vigilance on the part of parents. Not hypervigilance, but vigilance. We know that in cases of that we've seen in the past of pool deaths and water and drownings and that type of thing, that sometimes all the care hasn't been given to taking care of child safety locks on doors and pool alarms and those types of things. And we want to emphasize that all of these things are things that parents need to consider in bringing a child into the world and in keeping that child. We want all of our kids here in Pasco County to be safe, secure, and happy, and this is something that parents can do to make sure that happens. Thank you.
Please tell me, as specifically as possible about these two deaths that happened.
We've seen these deaths many times over the years. It's just a very unsafe situation. The two recent ones are still open investigations, so I really can't comment on those specific investigations.
Is there, not just these, but with other cases,
sometimes those are factors. The thing is when we put a child in the bed with you, you always run that risk. You can be overtired, you can be on cold medication. We have parents that have had a couple of drinks before they went to bed. You can solve that situation by just not putting the kid in bed with you.
Why is it that having a couple beers, what does that cause you?
Everybody's affected differently by those things, but again, make you not as alert, not as aware as to what's going on, depending what you've taken, how much you've taken, and you put the child at risk. 99.9% of the time, that's not the intended consequence, but it happens.
And would you say that the spike for the holidays?
Thanksgiving was it was weird. We had that one weekend, 2 deaths. The last 2 months we've had, I believe, 5 child deaths total. They kind of come and go in cycles. It's hard to say. The thing with holidays is you have people traveling. They're staying at other people's houses. They may not have brought a crib or a bassinet with them. So those type of things, up the risk. You also have people visiting other people's houses that have pools. They may not be aware of pool safety. Staying with grandparents. We recently, the sheriff mentioned, had 2 near drownings. One of them was at a grandparent's house. So, they're not used to the everyday watching the kids by the pool and making sure they're safe. So, over the holidays, when you have the guests, you need to ensure that you're making it safe. You're aware of who's coming to visit.
On the note of pool safety, can you just talk about making sure somebody's in charge of the pool? We've had cases in Pasco where there's been a crowd of people and we still have a death.
Absolutely. It's about watching the kids. You can have alarms on your pool. You can have gates up. You can have everything. Anybody that has kids know kids can get around those things. And right in front of crowds of people, we've had kids drown. Celebrities have had it happen where they've had 50, 60 people, and then they look for the kid and they find them on the bottom of the pool. It's all about watching your children, being aware of where they're at, what they're doing, especially near the water, whether it's a swimming pool, water in the backyard, or at the beach. We just need to make sure that we're paying attention to what our kids are doing.
So these co-sleeping deaths, who's this happening with? Upper, lower income, teen parents?
We've seen it across the board. A lot of times it is younger parents. They just don't have the parenting skills. There are parenting classes out there that, for new parents I would recommend. There's a lot of things. People don't a lot of times realize the risk they face by putting a kid in the bed with them. They think they're soothing the kid, they're doing the right thing, and they don't realize the unintended consequences that come out of it.
Is it just that they're not being told that it's that, or they're ignoring it, or?
It could be a combination of both, but that's why we're all here today. We all see the impact of this daily, and it affects the whole community, not just the families. I mean, my heart goes out to the families that have lost the kids, but we as a community, suffer with them through this. We have to see these investigations through, and so many of them are preventable. And there are a lot of resources out there, different websites they can go to, parenting classes, pool safety classes. And for new parents, I would highly recommend them reach out to those resources and take some classes.
Sheriff, you just talk about the app where people can get all those resources available just at the touch of a button that we have already online.
Yeah, you talk about education, you talk about awareness. One of the things that we're going to keep continuously to push out there is, through our phone app, through our website, and through our Facebook page. Through social media, we can get it out there. And you talk about, generational, everybody is on Facebook, everybody uses, the social media. So that's why we want to get it out there. If there's people, first time they're just having a child, please reach out to them, talk about this issue. It's better to talk about it, and it's not something that's very pleasant to talk about, but it's better that you talk about it now rather than to have a horrific incident occur in the future. So that's why we're trying to get the message out there. This is a community effort. You know, you can see from the fire department, everybody is out here today talking about it because, you know, as the lieutenant said, this impacts all of us. When you lose an infant to a preventable, you know, it's something that could have been preventable, you know, it's something that's absolutely tragic, and we're just trying out here today to, you know, talk about it. And there are resources, you know, through the health department. They can go out there and get these classes. Our Child Protective Investigation Unit, we provide these type of classes out there for parents working with other state agencies because, you know, we want this to be prevention, but please go to our Facebook, our social media, our phone app. We're going to give tips out there, and we'll provide the links to other agencies that can provide real classes inside a classroom so they can learn for first-time parents on how to prevent these tragedies.
Where on the, this is the sheriff's office app that it's on?
We will be putting it on there, yes. Yeah, but it will be on our Facebook page and our website.
You can go to the website, the press release section, all those up on the press release page.
What like age of child is it? I know we said infants, but
It's infants, but I'll defer this to those who actually study the health department. You guys want to take that one, or CPI? CPI's got it. Sorry, throw it on.
I have an interesting statistic with me today. Suffocation and strangulation in adult beds is the leading cause of injury-related death for infants under 1 in Florida. And on that same topic of these child deaths, these tragedies, drowning for children's ages 1 through 4, pool safety, leading cause of injury age group as well. This is a community effort. This is, you know, as the lieutenant mentioned, we see the end result of these tragedies, and we are making it our mission to provide this education to families, to parents, and specifically caregivers who are visiting, who may be unaware of the changes and expectations for infant care, especially pools. It's distractions, taking phone calls while your child's in the swimming pool, doing house chores, answering the doorbell. Children can drown in less than 2 inches of water. I'm not sure many people are aware of those consequences or the likelihood of that happening, but it affects everyone. So, but for infant deaths and co-sleeping, it's under 1 year of age.